You ever sit back and think about how different life could have been? Not just for you, but for all of us? Like sometimes I catch myself imagining a completely different path for our people, a different story, a different beginning. And honestly, it hits me every time. Welcome to the club. We're all unique and chosen by God. And if you're African, your superpower is your black skin. Carry it with honor. Now, let's get into today's reflection. Sometimes I sit myself and think about something simple but heavy. What's the greatest resource a nation can ever have? And every time I come back to the same thing, um, it can't be gold. It's not oil. It's not land. And it always come back to the same thing. It's the people, the minds, the hands, the dreams of his own children. And when I look at our history, especially West Africa, I can't help but imagine a different globe, a different path, a different story, one where our people were never taken, one where our strength stayed home, one where our future wasn't scattered across oceans. Because when you look at the story of Black people across the globe, you see something powerful, something that refuses to disappear. You see brilliance that survives. You see creativity that survives chains. You see memory that survives silence. You see Black Americans, Black Caribbeans, Afro-Latinos, Afro-Brazilians, Afro-Asians, all carrying pieces of West Africa inside them. And with those pieces, they built, they invented, they created new cultures, new songs, new ways of thinking. They shaped the modern globe in ways we still don't fully acknowledge. And sometimes I just sit with that. I let it sink in because it's wild to think about how much created out of pain, out of survival, out of memory. But then another thought hits me. What if all that stayed rooted in Africa? What if every inventor, every thinker, every artist, every freedom fighter had grown up on African soil, speaking African languages, building African cities, strengthening African nations? What would this continent look like today? I'm not talking about fantasy, I'm talking about potential, like full potential, the kind that was taken scattered and forced to grow in foreign soil. And yet, even in that foreign soil, our people grew. For example, Black Americans created jazz. They created hip hop. Other Cuban, Afro-Cubans created new forms of spirituality, uh, n- new philosophies, new technology. All of them contributed to that. They shaped agriculture, medicine, engineering, sports, literature. They changed the globe from the outside. And I think about that a lot. How a seed can be taken from its home and still grow. How a people can be pushed across ocean and still rise. How a culture can be attacked and still shine through every generation. But imagine, just imagine if all of that power had stayed inside. If West Africa had kept its people, protecting them, nurtured them, invested in them, Africa wouldn't just be a continent. It would literally be a global power, a cultural superpower. Matter of fact, a political superpower. A place where the rest of the globe look for answers and they wouldn't be just coming here for resources. And then I think about the things we never got to see, the inventions that never happened, the cities that were never built, the language that were never written down, the philosophies that were never shared, the medical breakthroughs that stayed locked inside the minds of people who never got a chance to study, to experiment, to dream freely. I think about the families that were broken, the kingdoms that were weakened, the knowledge systems that were interrupted, the spiritual traditions that were scattered like dust in the wind. And yet, even with all that loss, the African spirit didn't die. It traveled. It adapted and it whispered through music. It danced through movement. It spoke through resistance. It lived through every generation that refused to forget who they were. And now in this generation, we're seeing something new. A return. Not always a physical return, but a spiritual one, a cultural one, a mental one. People across the diaspora are reconnecting with Africa, learning, visiting, tourism, investing, creating bridges that were once forced apart. And Africa itself is rising. Young people are building tech hubs, fashion houses, film industries, new movements, new ideas. It's like the scattered pieces of a puzzle are slowly finding each other. I see it in the music, like Afro beats. I see it in the food. I see it in the hairstyles, the clothing, the pride. I see it in the way people talk about Africa now. Not a place of lack, but as a place of possibility. And maybe that's the beginning of something bigger. Maybe the next chapter is the one where we finally come together, where the diaspora and the continent stop seeing themselves as separate because we share the same story. And we just start seeing ourselves as one family with many branches. Because the truth is simple. Africa's greatest resource had always been its people. Even though millions were taken, the story isn't finished. The power of African people on the continent and across the globe is still unfolding. Because when African people and the diaspora unite, the globe shifts. It always has, and it always will. If you're part of the club, like, follow, and share this with every member you know. Until next time, peace.